All right, here I am. I'm going live, ladies and gentlemen, going live, first time ever. Um, who knows if anyone's going to watch this? Um, I wanted to talk about how this whole "She the People" thing went down yesterday, and I, I'm just flabbergasted that here's a woman of color. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard. Um, I it's just bizarre the reaction that she got. This bold, just she's got everything going for her, and she gets up there and she just takes the crap from everybody. She smiles. She really does aloha. She actually does aloha really well, and I don't know if I could be that poised under that kind of duress. And she does it every time. She went on with this guy, Leland Vittert from Fox News. And I got to tell you, I was like, what? I was just not pleased with that interview whatsoever. And, there are just moments where you think to yourself, this person is the best person. They're running for president. She pulled me out of the trash heap of falling off of the Trump Express. I just couldn't take it. Couldn't take the endless wars. Couldn't take John Bolton being up there every day. President Bolton, President Pompeo every day. I had it. I just had it. There was no America First happening. By the way, I got reamed out for putting America First on my Twitter profile. I guess it's because it's been tainted and co-opted, and progressives. I was told progressives don't believe in America First. Okay, well, I'm an independent mostly, and I may have some views that intersect with yours. We can agree to disagree on this because I would like to put the country first. Doesn't mean I'm a white supremacist nationalist or anything like that. Uh, just we're living in strange times, and Tulsi's appearance at this "She the People" event, that again was surreal because they seem to care more about like creating this image for somebody. Do you check all of our boxes? And how come you don't check the box that we check, especially in foreign policy? You don't check that box, and that concerns us. We don't know anything about what we're talking about, but most everybody who comes on this show or is on this, whatever you want to call it, this one day event, they all agree that the United States needs to do what it's been doing all along, and you're proposing something very radical. And the radical is what? The radical is to bring the troops home, to save lives, and to stop intervening in other people's business. This is a bunch of crap. Okay. And uh, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep pursuing this. I don't care what happens to Tulsi. I mean, I love Tulsi. Um, and I'm not a pessimist here. I'm just telling you, folks, be prepared because it's only going to get worse. Now, everybody's got the hope, and we're all hanging on the hope. She's going to get into this debate, first debate, and she's going to score big time. She's going to look presidential, which she always does. This is the other thing. I mean, I understand that people, they have concerns maybe about her past. A lot of progressives seem to be like, well, she was for all this stuff, and she could be a war hawk underneath all that stuff, and we don't know. We don't trust. Really? Because she keeps proposing legislation that you guys should all be like cheering about. And she's walking the walk. She's not just, talking nonsense all day long or talking in platitudes. She gets up before these people who are, I guess, hostile witnesses every single time. And she ends up doing all of this explaining. Well, you went to see Assad and you met with him, and I guess that's a cardinal rule. Don't meet with anybody. Don't do that. Um, I don't know. I remember as a kid, Ronald Reagan meeting with what, Gorbachev, and there were a lot of people that thought he shouldn't have done that. A completely different situation, obviously, but how are you going to broker a peace or an understanding? You know what I mean? You can't, you're just not going to be able to do it. So I'm a little confused. And as usual, even in my profile, I say I'm confused over on Twitter because I don't understand people right now. I don't understand. You've got this amazing candidate. And I'm not saying this because, I mean, everybody has a resume over there. Everybody, you know? And you could make the case that, yeah, anybody is better than Trump, but that's not the case we should make because that's not necessarily true. Yeah, Trump is bad, and Trump as a figurehead is really bad. But if you're replacing Trump with Biden, good luck. It's the same thing. You may have somebody who doesn't, disrespect people in the same way Trump has, but it doesn't fix the problem. And we've got large problems looming, whether you're an advocate for, the Green New Deal, you feel as though the economy needs to be geared. Imagine if the economy was geared around something positive, like fixing the environment versus being geared toward this military industrial complex, which is mostly about killing people, or threatening people or torturing people. I understand there are some times where, very few though, where we have to act that way. Very few. I don't know. I don't know. It's at this point in time, if you're thinking, if you're really thinking through these issues, you have to say to yourself, why do so few Americans get this? Is it just propaganda? Is it the fact that we've been desensitized for years and decades and so forth, that we've just played the left-right game forever? It's like, which team are you on, Dave? Well, I was on the R team, and I've kind of switched to the D team, but I'm really not a D. I'm kind of an I. What does that matter? I'm trying to find out what the truth is. I'm going forward. I'm looking for the right answers to these questions. And I don't care where that takes me. I think we all need to be fearless in our pursuit. And we can't just take what people say and just go, okay, yeah, I believe, especially if you're watching network TV, turn it off. I've turned it off. And the only reason I watch any of it is because people will send me a clip and I'll watch the clip. The Fox News clip was just, and I used to spend, obviously from my background, I used to watch Fox a lot. They were, when I was on that team, they were my support network. You know what I'm saying? They gave me the red meat that I needed to survive for that day. They had to bash whoever, and I was going along with the bashing and enjoying it because the people I supposedly liked at the time, well, I did like at the time, they were, lifting those people up. I've realized that we cannot keep playing political games anymore. We can't do it. And we need to find the truth. We need to get to the bottom of the things that are most important. And we have to stick to issues. The she, the people thing, to me, it's like a dog and pony show. Please check all of these boxes for us. I hate identity politics. I hate it. I didn't like it when I was on the right and I was told, it was bad then, and it's bad for a lot of conservatives because they look at it too and they say, well, we're not getting to any real issues. We're just trying to meet a quota of some kind. And I'm not into that. I'm not into that. Somebody saying Tulsi is definitely more aligned with Jill Stein. I like Jill Stein. I like a lot of what the Green Party has to say. I think I have a friend on Twitter who her name's Kelly, and she pointed out to me that it's really hard to kind of undo the latte, Green Party, we drive a Prius. I want a party that's going to appeal to the working class in the Midwest, and that means you bring everybody in. You don't just say, well, you know, if you're into recycling, which you probably should be, but I'm just saying if you're into these things, then you're with us. And I like, again, their platform though, most of it I can get into. Um, and I've said before, if this doesn't work, we all need to, you know, go back to the drawing board and say which party is going to do this. And if neither party is going to do the right thing, then we need to find another way. It's just that simple. But it's that difficult because we all know how hard that will be. Jimmy Dore likes to talk about how it would take kind of a charismatic leader. Some would say Bernie. I would say Tulsi. I don't think Tulsi wants to get out of the Democratic Party. I think she wants to try to reform it. And the people I've registered, I've had to register here in Florida as a Democrat, and that was, I was never, for a long time, I wasn't registered as a Republican. I was typically an independent. And occasionally somebody ran in a primary, and I said, okay, I got to do this. But then a lot of times I'd look at who was in the primary and I go, well, I'll just wait till the general election because I really don't care. So yeah, it's a full realignment. And the other thing that is really toxic is the whole idea of just worrying about identity politics. Just worrying about it takes you completely away from the things that people care about. I mean, if you're just talking ID politics all day, you're not talking about climate change or the military industrial complex, or down here where I live in Florida, the rents are insane. I mean, thank God and I say this not to boast, but thank God I'm in a house because the mortgage is cheaper than the rent would be. And even with the property tax and everything else, but not everybody can get 20% down. It's unfortunate. My wife and I both have jobs. Okay. Fortunately, mine is mostly at home. Hers is doing the work outside the house, and it's just been a grind. Tulsi, I think, represents a new force in politics and a new third way candidacy. I think she is a true progressive, but she's also somebody who is more inclined to listen to what others are saying. This isn't what we've had in politics before. What we've had in politics is you're on your team and you stay in that lane and you hammer everybody else and you play this political game. You know who does this really well is Nancy Pelosi. I've never seen anybody like this. She just stays in her lane and hammers everybody. And then she does this to Trump at the State of the Union. I don't want that in our country anymore. I want ideas. I want solutions to problems. I want people who are on opposite sides saying, hey, I've got an idea. You've got an idea. Let's talk it through. I'm not talking about compromise and centrism. I'm talking about just respecting each other, and maybe you agree to disagree. Maybe at the end of the day, it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? But I think you need some people out there who are actually listening to their constituents, and not just throwing platitudes at them all day. And people are hypnotized by smooth talking. That's why you got Mayor Pete Buttigieg out there. I'm sorry, I just make fun of the guy's name. Jimmy Dore too is doing like Buttigieg or something on his show, which was pretty funny. I like Buttigieg. It just kind of flows, and he's the flavor of the moment. Although we'll see what the polling numbers are with Joe Biden in the race now. And this is the other thing. It just sucks all the oxygen out of the room where the serious candidates are involved. You know, whether you're a Bernie fan, a Tulsi fan, or you want Mike Gravel in there to toss up another giant rock in in the pond, which I'm hoping he gets there. You should donate a dollar to Mike Gravel, just to see the expression on their faces when he walks out onto that stage. They're going to be like, not him again. I mean, he's back. Um, but we need that discussion more than ever. We can pay for this stuff, folks. We can pay for anything if we just shut down the military industrial complex, or at least just tame it. Tame it, bring it. I mean, this is the other thing, too. If we could just knock it down a little bit, I'm just, it's just, this video is talking about that whole she the people thing and how Tulsi again gets mistreated. Tulsi doesn't deserve this. She's not, her demeanor and her style doesn't prompt this stuff. I mean, watching this guy Vittert last weekend, and she's just respectful, and he's like, but ma'am, and she's trying to give her answers. And then she said, and he finishes, well, you didn't give an answer on Iran. That's all the time we have. Goodbye. What was that? Bzz, hit the buzzer. Time's up. Sorry. I know the segment's over and you got to go to your commercial break and have all of your neocon sponsors chip in to keep your channel healthy so Rupert Murdoch can rake in some more money. Hey, when I was a Trump fan, we hated Rupert Murdoch. Most of the Trump people know all this stuff. That's why we can get him. We could get him over here. We could easily get him over here because we were complaining about Ted Cruz that his wife worked for Goldman Sachs and nobody really talked about it, and the conservatives never brought it up. Like Mark Levin, oh, he's a great candidate. Mark Levin, I used to impersonate his voice. I won't do it for you now, but I used to listen to the guy and I go, you don't understand. This guy's just another neocon, and he is. So in any event, I appreciate the support over on the channel. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you like what we do here, there's Patreon. Also, if you can endure the ads, like I say. And, we're in it together, people. We're in it together for Tulsi. And she the people isn't the defining thing for Tulsi Gabbard, nor are any of these neocon channels that she has to endure in order to get her point across. The debates are going to be very interesting. It's going to be stock up on the antacids. I was going to say adult beverages, but you're going to need something to kind of, keep your stomach from being unsettled. All right. So I'm out.